Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we're in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. I'll introduce the members of the panel today. Via Zoom is Ms. Michelle Duncan and Mr. Robert Hutchings. My name is Stu Person. I'll be chairing the hearing today. Representing the Assessment Department is Mr. Roddy Pontanilla, and the administrative personnel is Ms. Phoebe Graywood. We'll be hearing applications for the revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application. We'll limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Please be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council, and it's independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I'll confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed following the swearing in. We'll then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they so wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You'll receive the Board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. Just as information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We'll be hearing item 1 on our docket today. That is 789 Portage Avenue. Ms. Graywood, if you would please affirm the assessors and the applicant's testimony.
Mr. Pontanilla, please consent. Can you state your full name?
Rodrigo Pontanilla.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. And get hands up.
Yes.
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 Can you state your full name?
And so now I go.
You affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may be seated. Joan Magda. I get you to state your full name.
Joan Cindy Micro.
And do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may be seated.
Thank you.
Yeah, through John Magro.
And do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. and Mr. Magro.
Hi.
You're here representing yourselves for 789 Portage Avenue as the owners of the property, and it's the amount of the assessed value that we're dealing with. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Have any of you been before the Board previously?
No.
So in the opening statements, were you able to follow along as to what the process will be today?
More or less, yes.
Okay, we'll go as slowly as possible, and if you have concerns, you can express them at any time. Excuse me. Okay, Mr. Pontanilla, when you're ready, we'll hear your evidence regarding 789 Portage Avenue, please.
Okay, just give me 1 second here. I actually had worked on a recommendation for this file, but like everything that's been going on this morning, it also was lost to the winds here, so I'm just putting together this one last. Here. Okay, I'm ready. So up next, we have file 24-736. The roll number is 1303-232-0000. The address is 789 Portage Avenue. The 2025 assessed value went out at $1,009,000. This property is listed as a CMRRE, a freestanding restaurant. There's one building associated with the roll. We have 2 premises on the income stream, and it's a 1-story building. And the actual year built is 1947, but we have an effective year built of 1947 and 1998. I'm assuming for the addition that was built. We have a wall height of 14 feet.
What are these?
We can get to that. This is just the affected age that I have on there. So we have 2 affected ages. So at some point there must have been some work done in the building. But we'll get to that when it's your turn to then respond to me. So this is just the details that I'm going over. So the land area we have is 5,430 square feet. We have gross leasable area of 5,310 square feet. So if you look on page 2, I have included the pad eye view map of the subject property so we can see its location on Portage Avenue. On page 3, we have an overhead view from pictometry of the subject property so you can be better oriented with it. On page 4, we have a south-facing view and an east-facing view of the subject property. In the east-facing view, it's a little occulted as the other buildings are bigger and are sort of overshadowing them there. And then we have the Google Street View images from the 2023 overlay, so we can see somewhat recent pictures of the subject property there as we drive by it. We do have a response for a request for income and expense information for 2022, so we're okay there. And we have no subject sales history on the subject property. On page 7, I have included some of my market data to show for the rents that are within, that I would consider sort of relevant to the subject property. So typically with these sort of properties, what I like to do is I like to locate some market data that's within the neighborhood. However, freestanding restaurants that are fully netted out are sometimes difficult to find appropriate subject properties. So in this scenario, I have included some market data from that was citywide. So it wasn't necessarily relevant to the subject property, but all of the market data that I've included are all freestanding restaurants. And they're all triple net leases, so we can just see what the leases are currently being received for these types of properties. And we have the leases ranging from $14.13 all the way up to $25.99 at the higher end. On page 8, we do have the income stream for the subject property. So we have 2 premises located on the income stream, a C4 standard restaurant and a C9 leasable basement. We do have 3,645 square feet for the C4 restaurant, and we have that at $21.01 per square foot. And then we also have the C9 basement lease at 1,665 square feet at $7 a square foot. So then we have a total of 5,310 square feet at for $88,236 for annual rental value. If you just give me 1 second, I can calculate the overall price per square foot so we can get a better idea. These are all the things that I had ready, but unfortunately, the computer had different plans. Divide that by 510. We get an overall price of $16.62 per square foot for the subject property. And then on page 9, we have an income value summary of the subject property. So this shows how we got to our valuation there of $1,009,000. On page 10, we have some cap rate information just to show how we received our cap rates for the subject property. We don't have restaurants in. It's always a thing that we would like to have listed, but we do have a retail section there for some of our more common portfolio property types, and you can see a range of cap rates there. So you can have some information on that. And then on page 11, we have the pertinent Municipal Assessment Act excerpts. And then on page 12, we do have the subject properties income and expense mailer information for 2022. So for the 2022 mailer, if you just give me 1 second here. I don't know, this is quite a pain. Okay, so we do have the 2022 mailer. It's listed as fully owner occupied at the very top, although in the second part where we have the income type, it was listed as net. So somebody had checked out net. So what we have is at least something to work with. So we do have a total rent that was stated as $26,460 for the ARV for the annual rental value. The expenses appear reasonable. Nothing seems to jump out there. And then we have 5,400 square feet listed. So for the Garden House East India restaurant, we did have a lease that was on there from 2020 to 22 for 3,645 square feet. That one was declared as owner occupied. And then we do have another lease for following that for another restaurant, it appears that's operating there, a hookah lounge, I think. And the lease is from 2022 to 23 for 5,000 square feet. And we do have it listed as $6,615 per month. Or that equals out to $79,380, which equals out to $15.88 net, if that's what we can go by. So when we look at the analysis, there's $15.88 is the actuals, and then we look at the models generated price of an overall blended rate of $16.62. It does show that maybe we're a few, half a dollar, maybe 50 cents higher than what the actuals are. And so I did have a recommendation to make for this file to offer you guys. After my review of the subject property and looking at all the pertinent information, I thought that an overall blended rate of $16 per square foot would be an appropriate rate for the subject property, given the market characteristics. And when we run that through the income stream using the same parameters as what went out for the appeal, we get a final revised value of $971,000 from $1,009,000. So that's the recommendation I can offer, and that's my presentation.
Can I say?
Thank you. Before we get to the questioning, would you state what the reference date is and what the significance of that is, please?
Yep, so the roll year is 2025, the reference date is April 1st, 2023.
Thank you. For the applicants, will there just be one person asking questions, or?
Yeah, I don't understand I'll tell my wife and she'll. Yeah.
Okay, so this part, when you're asking questions of the assessor, it's based on the evidence that they presented. So you'll have an opportunity to present your case after the questioning. So if you would just keep your questioning confined to evidence that the assessors presented.
Mr. Chair, excuse me, could we ask that the applicants speak up loudly when they're asking questions?
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Right now, what they're saying is that you can ask the assessor questions on how people are to.
Yeah, how did you know where the place is, right?
Of course, yep, I
Do we
do.
know all the problems that we have in there?
I do.
Do we know that when you said the lease that we give it to those India house, it was COVID, right?
It was over the COVID period,
Yeah. Well, I didn't charge a penny for them, right? Because they didn't have no money. Right, so I'm not a guy that is trying to pull money from people. Okay, so I'm not that kind of a thing. So I never complained about anything. Okay, but the place is getting worse and worse by the day. The window gets smashed.
Mr. Magro,
yeah.
Magro, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you there. That's this is all information that you can provide when it's your turn to present the evidence.
Okay.
So if you would just, at this point, if you have any questions for what the assessor has presented here, if you could confine it to that, please.
Okay. So, the way you got to 900, I think it's way too much. Because there was a building. A little bit further down, they had 4 units. And it got sold for $750 or $775. And it's about the same thing, and it's around that area, around Sherbrooke, so. Where we are is even worse, so I don't think. My own opinion, that's not my job, I know how to make pizzas, I knew how to make pizzas. I think it's way overthink. That's my opinion.
Sure.
And I think my opinion should count too, because I'm the guy paying for it.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you have no questions for me?
No, I have no, I'm just
Okay.
telling them that 775 there, why is that 975? Why can it be the same thing? And they sold for 750 or 775.
Okay,
So,
thank
Well,
you.
we work on a mass appraisal system, so basically what we have is we have a lot of market data inputs, so that one sale. Presumably, if it had gone through, if it was verified to be a bona fide arm's length sale on the property. Those data points would then go into our mass appraisal system. They go into the mass appraisal system, and then from there, this is very simplified, but essentially from there, with all the lease information we have, all the sales information we have for the market region, it all goes into the computer, and then the computer essentially spits out a modeled appraisal value for your, or an assessment value for your property. So in essence, for the city of Winnipeg, we have to value all the properties that we have within the city of Winnipeg. We are legislated to do so, and your property has value. So we do have to put a market value on the property. We can't just simply put the lowest value property because it's just the way you feel about it. We do have to have market data, relevant information. So like, that's when I was going through my presentation and I showed you my market data. I was showing you the indicators that would show what the leases were going for that type of building. So it would show that if $25 is at the higher end and if $14, $12 is at the lower end, and we have you valued at $16, the value that we have yet would be an average or a middle of the market rental rate for these subject properties. So we can have a difference on the opinion, but I just wanted to let you know of how we come to a value, because ultimately the city of Winnipeg, we have to value our properties. We need to put an assessed value on there.
I understand, but there is a difference. A building on Henderson Highway is worth one money. A building on Portage Avenue and Toronto Street with all that crime is worth totally different. So
There's
it
differences, yeah.
it should not be the same, because it's not the same.
So I would counter that to say that that's how we have our capitalization
No, but
rates.
I'm
So our-
telling you, yeah, you're telling me what you think, and
Yeah.
I'm telling you
Sure.
what I think. I don't think it should be calculated the
Okay.
same way as that one there, because Anderson is better than Portage was better 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Now it's a dump. In case you haven't, you just should go take a look. Sometime in the back lane looks like Beirut. Well, which is, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. So, and they smash things and do this, and we have to fix it up.
Yeah.
And then when I could, I did. But then things are getting,
I do understand. The only thing I would like to say is that that's sort of the reason why we have capitalization or cap rates. So a cap rate is a mathematical formula that's used to extract an overall assessed market value, and it's typically based on the net operating income. So there is a mathematical formula for extracting, but to not overcomplicate it, we have an inverse relationship. So the lower the cap rate, the higher the assessed value mathematically. The higher the cap rate, the lower the assessed value. Just to give you an idea, so if we look on page 10 and we look at the retail cap rates, we can see, for example, a strip mall, which isn't like your property type. Like I said, I wish we had restaurants specifically, but restaurants are a bit volatile, so they're a little different in how they shift. But a strip mall would be the closest of these property types to what we're talking about now. And we have at the 20th percentile a 5.6 cap rate, and at the 80th percentile a 6.75 cap rate. So those are the two edges of where our cap rates sort of seem to fluctuate from. So the only reason why I'm explaining this to you, I don't mean to complicate it, but when we look at the income stream and when we look at the cap rate, we have a 7.95% cap rate that's being applied to your property type. So if the 20th percentile is in the 5s, And if the 80th percentile is in the sixes, then your cap rate is outside of the 80th percentile, which means we have it valued at a lower value to sort of account and to try to capture the challenges that the neighborhood is currently facing. So I know it might not help the most because it's not something that you work with on a regular basis, but what I can say is that we have an appropriately applied cap rate to your subject property. Again, within the city of Winnipeg, we have to put a value on it. You're facing Portage Avenue. It can't be worth nothing, right? We have to have a value on there for something. And when you look at all those market data indicators, it seems to show that the value already at the assessment that we had probably would be an okay value for that subject property, but a $16 adjustment just to put the blended rate to a more appropriate sort of even market rate, that would be, in my opinion, the best solution. But again, it's just a matter of opinion, right? So I'm simply presenting what we have for market data. Yeah, I'm simply presenting what we have for market data, but it's your property. You're gonna have your moment to now speak to the panel and you can then tell them the challenges you're facing and we can let the panel decide. I'm simply offering how the city of Winnipeg comes to our market value.
Your job, I'm not saying nothing about it,
Yeah.
but I'm saying I'm telling.
Yeah, no, I understand.
The problems that it is, there is.
For sure.
This work, now if the city gets.
Okay,
stuck
can-
money, what can
excuse
they
me,
do? Yeah.
can we just get back to the questions and
Sure.
any that there would be, and we'll do the evidence later?
Yep.
So Mr. Magro, are there any other questions about what the assessors presented?
What do you mean?
Oh, if you have any questions, I can see them.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I understand that standalone restaurants in Winnipeg are difficult to find comparables for. I just kind of think it's a little bit ridiculous that you have Grassy Boulevard on here, Regent and Henderson. Like I would appropriately, I would consider the Donald, the Portage, and if you really want to push it, Gordon. But I was just curious why you guys decided to. Was it just like any standalone?
So when I was doing my relevant research, there's always a question of when you want to use leases, do you want to compare apples to apples or do you want to compare apples to oranges?
Yeah.
All of these property types are apples to apples. They might not be in the same region. You might think it's funny that I put it in there because it's not, but I could have also thrown in a ton of different property types like strip malls, regional shopping centers.
Yeah.
So if it's okay to throw in one, if we're not going to compare apples to apples, then why don't I start throwing in Polo Park? It's down the street on Portage, right?
It is. I was just
I could
asking.
also start to put Portage Place. It's down the street on Portage, right?
Yeah, I was just
So
asking.
we can, so it depends on how we pick, right? It all depends on how we set that up. I like to set it up as upfront as possible using apples to apples lease information. If you want to then adjust based on factors within the neighborhood, there's a range. It's a range of rents. You can take your pick, whichever one you feel, right? But I'm simply explaining, this is why it's always what do you want to do? Do you want to compare apples to apples? Because I can also compare apples to oranges and put in Polo Park if I wanted to. It's on Portage.
Okay,
But then you also could have put in what is it, the Harveys on Portage Avenue.
Could I have though? Is it triple net lease? Do we know?
I don't know.
There you go. We don't know, right? There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
We
I'll
don't know.
just stop that. Sorry.
okay.
Any
Further questions?
Yeah, well, to me, I think he's doing his job, so I'm sure he's doing a very good job. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's fair because there's a lot of problems in there. Okay,
Okay,
so I don't
Mr.
think it's
Magro,
fair.
Mr. Magro,
Yeah.
sir. Do you have a question? Because you'll have an opportunity to present your case.
You have no more questions?
No, I don't.
Now they're gonna.
Okay.
do diligence.
Thank you. Ms. Duncan, do you have questions for the assessor?
Yeah, is the comparable selected? Are they model generated or did you
No.
specifically pick them
No
yourself?
comparables are ever model generated. That'd be basically comparing our own data. It would be sort of it wouldn't be relevant because now you're comparing markets or model generated assessments with model generated assessments. So that wouldn't necessarily work, right? So the market data that we look at, it's all lease information, triple net lease information. So it's been verified by our staff to have a triple net lease with all the recoveries taken out. So that's the base rental rates that are being received.
So did you select these comparables or is it generated in some other way?
No, I selected them. I put them together, but they're all lease, triple net lease verified market data.
Okay, And then again, just because, when you drive down Portage Avenue, there seems to be a significant number of standalone restaurants, although like you say, the triple net lease might not be known. There's only one, as far as you know, one property within that reasonable area that the 981 Portage Avenue that's comparable.
Yeah, that's what I could find with our market data. I mean, it fluctuates from every cycle, like sometimes it might be owner occupied spaces, and then in 2 years they switch and they decide to lease out their space, and then we have information on them. But it seems like the majority of neighborhoods, including the subject properties, so we can use the subject properties as a micro example of the macro look of the neighborhood, but it seems like the majority are owner occupied. So it's difficult to rest my hat on a rental rate that could be a book rent. We don't know what the details are of the lease information that's provided. So that's why I wanted to use these ones, because these ones are freestanding restaurants and they are verified to be triple net leases. So we can just look at the subject property and then decide where does it compare to these. Even if they're not within the same neighborhood, we can look at effective ages. We can just try to place where the subject property would compare. I thought $16 for a blended market rate would be a good rate applied, but that's why we're here, right? It's for us to decide.
And then if you could go down to the mailer, I recognize it's not your mailer, but you had an assessment of it. And I'm a little confused. So there's the two premises, the main floor at 3645, and then it gives another, the lounge reference at 5,000 square feet. So that's kind of confusing, as the total lease and the total leasable area of the entire property is 5,310. So
Yep.
if I add 1,036.45, that's much higher. So I'm kind of confused on that.
So this would have been filled up by the person who is designated to fill it up by the applicant. So it'd be related to the subject property. I didn't fill out this mailer, so I don't know why they would have put it as 2 lines. But I can verify that from my understanding, it's a single tenant. And I think there's a basement that's also used in the operations. Maybe the applicant can provide us some more information on that, but when I looked at the mailer, from my understanding of it, that would have been a previous tenant that then moved out, and then the hookah lounge moved in. That's the way I read that. So
Yeah.
we don't have to necessarily rest our hats and add both them together. It's not 3645 and 5,000 2 main floor premises. That's not how it is. Because if you look at the income stream, we have one main floor at 3,645 square feet, and then a basement premise at 1,665 square feet.
Yeah, I was able to read that. I'm just wondering about the discrepancy here. It's not mailer.
I'm not sure. I didn't fill it out. I don't know.
Question, please, Mr. Assessor.
Sure.
Thank you. So you had based your assessment on the mailer as well. So I just wanted to know from your perspective, you've kind of explained that it's confusing. You went back to the original square footage, and that was my question. Thank you. No other questions.
Thank you. Mr. Hutchins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Pontanillo, good morning.
Morning.
I'm also going to look at page 13, the I&E sent into you, item number 2, the 789 lounge. Lease end date ends up being nearly the reference date, May 31st, 2023. Can you give me that total income? I missed it. It was 79,000 based on that income that was declared there.
Yeah, so we have it declared at $6,615 a month, or $79,380 for an annual rental value, and they checked off net. So I just have to go by what was checked off there in this scenario. And so
Okay.
if you take the annual rental value and you divide it by the area that's being declared, you get an overall price per square foot of $15.88.
Okay, so it was approximately 79,800.
79,380, 79380.
Okay, so 400, and an analysis would determine that would be about 15.
$15.88. $15.88.
So approximately $16 a
Yep.
square foot. All right, and that does very close to your recommendation. All right, at $16. I'm not sure if that's been accepted or not. I kind of get the impression it hasn't. My next question is your comps, your lease comps on page, sorry, where are you? on page 7.
Yep.
Would you know, my understanding is that all the comps you've listed here are freestanding leased restaurants. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Would you happen to know what 981 Portage Avenue, what restaurant that is?
It's a Dairy Queen.
A Dairy Queen?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay, Sherburne and Portage. All right. So we're a bit east of, or pardon me, a bit west of the subject property. All right. And that lease was at
Mr. Hutchings, you're breaking up on me.
Oh. I am breaking up.
There, you're back.
Okay. That lease at 981 is 1852 a square foot. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And as far as you're aware, physically, the property is, as of the reference date, was leasable?
As far as I'm aware.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Assessor, I noticed that there's effective age has been applied to this property. I think you said that somewhere along the line it was applied because of improvements, but you're not able to pinpoint what the improvements were and when they were done?
I would have to get into the records of the subject property to take a look at it, so I wouldn't be able to provide that at this moment.
I see. Would you be able to tell me whether the cap rate would be affected by that age variance? Would there be a difference if it was a original building of
There would be, yeah.
1947?
Yep, the effective age does have an effect on the cap rates. Typically, the newer the building, the lower the cap rate. So there would be again a relationship between as a building's effective age increases, the cap rate decreases to accommodate the increasement in assessed value. My only what I could offer in this for this line of thinking is that although we do have an effective age showing of 1947 and 1988, the model does have an overall effective year that it applies. So if you look on page 1, while we do have an effective year built of 1947, 1998, the actual year built 1947, that 1947 has then been carried over as the effective year built. And I wonder if that could be also why the 7.95% cap rate was generated by the model, because it does seem to be a little bit higher in comparison to the overall cap rates that I've been seeing within the neighborhood. So
I'm sorry, I'm not following you there.
so I think
actual year built 1947.
Yep.
An effective year built 1947, 1998.
That's correct.
Where are you seeing that the 1947?
Well, I had it in some of my crib notes that I had here when I was reviewing the file. I don't have access to the actual system right now to pull that up and give you some more clarity on that. I can only provide what I have in front of me when I was doing my review of the subject property. That's just what I had on there.
Okay, I understand that, but you said it was the 1947 that was used.
It appears to be so, yeah, based on my information that I have there, but I don't have it in front of me, so I don't want to say for sure that that's what it is.
Okay,
thank you. I would have to look at it.
Okay, and the basement, what is the basement used for in this property?
We have it listed as a C9 leasable basement, so.
No, we don't. When we rent the upstairs, they get the basement. When they rent everything, so it's there. Everything is there.
Yes.
Storage.
Mr. Magro?
Yeah.
Mr. Magro, I'll ask you that question after you present your evidence, but for now, I'm questioning the assessor, if you don't mind.
Sorry,
No, thank you. Sorry, so what was your answer, Mr. Pontaneo?
As far as the information we have it listed as a C9 leasable basement, so there's value that's being put on. It was used maybe in the past as some sort of that, maybe that's why we have it as a separate premise. I'm not really sure the details, it's not my property. But I'm just going by the records that we have on there. So if that's a change, we could always look at that as well to sort of adjust the rental rates on there. We'd have to see some evidence for that, like the current condition of the basement, does it have a separate entrance egress? Is it accessed through the main floor? Those are the details we need to know first before we made any sort of a premise readjustment on there. But as far
Okay.
as the information I had, we had that as a C9, so that's all I can go on.
Okay, so would you be able to tell me when the last time the property was inspected?
Again, I'd have to have the information on me that have the records. I don't have that in front of me, sorry.
Okay, 981 Portage, that's more or less a chain restaurant, correct?
It's a Dairy Queen, yep.
And is there a basement area in that property?
And I don't have that information in front of me.
Okay, I thank you.
Mr. Chair, could I ask one more question, please?
A
The
follow-up
assessor?
question, certainly.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Pontanillo, can you detail your recommended reduction to 971,000 dollars? How much of a percentage reduction is that from the original assessment?
You want me to do some math here on the board?
Yes,
Just
please.
give me a second. I'd have to open up, 1 second. I have something that I can, it's not as straightforward when you do those value. So the original is 1 million. And then I said 971. That would be a 3.77% reduction.
Okay, approximately 4%. All right. All right, thank you very much. That's my only question. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, this is now the applicant's turn to make a presentation. I note that there's been nothing presented in writing, but you certainly have an opportunity to present your case orally. So I'm not sure which of the applicants would like to do so. Mr. Magro, or
Yeah.
Senior Mr. Magro, I guess. Did you wish to state your case as to why you think the assessed value is incorrect and what you think the assessed value should be and what the basis for that is?
Okay, number one, the reason probably why the restaurant is appraised the way he appraised it, because what we have inside the restaurant, this is why people are paying that kind of a rent, because we have a rent, just put a ventilation system cost about $250,000-300,000. So we getting that rent because not because of the building alone, because of what we put inside the building, which we could take out and everything. So what I'm thinking is people that are in there, when they're in trouble, always trying to help them out. Okay. Now, what I'm saying is there is a lot of problems in a city. There is a lot of problems around there, right? And we constantly fixing up the shutters, the graffiti, this, that. I mean, it's a mess. Maybe the city maybe should try to do something, maybe to put somebody around there. They want the goddamn money, so why don't they put someone there maybe to watch what the hell is going on too? So it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to those guys to pay that kind of money. So I don't think. I think it's too expensive because it's a mess there. And you guys maybe you should, maybe I don't mean you, but the assessor should go there maybe at night time, on a Friday night or something. Then you see, you need a security guard beside you. Somebody knows how to throw punches because it's not that nice. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, it's not a nice place, and there was a building that was sold about the same square footage, which is even better. They have 4 different units in it. Okay, so why, if this assessment that you're saying, why is this assessment 971 like you put it now? The other one they sold for 775. So what is the difference? It's just half a kilometers away from there, which is the same, it's around Maryland there, whatever. So that's what they sold. So maybe the assessment is a little bit, and again, I'm not trying to do your job, but I'm just telling you what I think. Why wouldn't they sell for $750 if it's worth $1 million? Right, so we think that place there is what it's worth. And the reason why maybe we worth it, we get that kind of money because all the stuff that we have inside there, that we spend tons and tons of money. But constantly we keep in the stuff that they break. I mean, I don't wish you guys that happens to you guys. Stuff that they breaking that is seconding. And then we have to fix it up. And sometimes maybe you don't have no money to fix it up. So this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. So it's not as easy as you guys make it sound, because it's not that easy. If it was that easy, everybody would do it. It's not that goddamn easy. To make a door, you gotta bust your butt. So again, I'm not trying to be mean. I hope you understand. I know I have an accent, so I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. There is not that kind of a. It's not as easy as it makes it sound. It is. And again, you're doing your job. You're trying to do yours. I'm trying to do mine. So I think it should be, again, my opinion, and I don't know a hell of a lot about that, but what I see and read, I think that's what is it worth. Instead of 9, like you're saying, 971 or something. So that's all. And the area, again, it's seconding. The area is second, especially like I said, if you go there, don't go there. If you go there, go with somebody else. It's pretty sad. Remember, there used to be when we bought the building, there used to be flowers around. It was nice. Everything was so nice in those days. Now it's I don't want to say what it is, but it's pretty sad. It's a sad story, and the thing is they smash everything, and then we have to fix it up. So the money that we get, I don't know. Sometimes I even say, is it worth it to have it there? That's all. Then you guys do whatever you think.
There's a couple of things that I would like to say.
Go ahead.
Okay, with the numbers that were, that thing that you guys send out that I have to fill in the blanks this year, or the mailer, the income. I'm the one who does it. I may have made a mistake on it, but we get $6,300 a month rent. I can't remember if I put down the $6,615 because $315 is GST. So this isn't very easy to do this here thing. It wasn't very friendly last time when I had to do it online. But the rent a month is $6,300 that we collect. But we collect $6,615, $315 is GST. So rent the year without the GST is $75,600. So that's that number. I just want to say that the poverty level in the area is quite bad. So we don't have there's a lack of parking. A lot of people say that they don't. When we had the restaurant there, we closed it in 2019. People would say that they don't want to park on Beverly or Toronto because of the crime rate there, and they're scared to walk down the street. The staff, when they parked behind the restaurant, they were broken into all the time. One of our delivery cars was stolen. So it's just that it's a high crime rate, and I think that the crime rate has a big impact on the value of the building.
Thank you. Anything further you would like to add? Nope.
I think you heard the story. Now it's up to you guys to see if you believe us what we're saying. You know, maybe you can ask us some question. Maybe I can. I don't know. Maybe I can answer you if that's no question.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what we'll do, sir. The assessor is up first. Do you have any questions for the applicants?
I just have one. So I know that the applicant was describing a sale that had recently taken place, I guess, and you were sort of resting your head and wondering why this sold for this, and yet we have it assessed at this value. My only question is, when did that sale take place?
It was within the past year. I can't know.
What?
I can, if you want me to look, I can try.
No, I mean, just a roundabout, just a roughly.
It was within the past month or two, I'm assuming. I'm about 100% sure I can't.
So I do want to bring to the board's attention that we do have a reference date of April 1st, 2023. Just so we're aware of that. And that's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hutchings, any questions for the applicants?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. My first question to the applicants is, are you accepting the recommendation of the assessor that he presented at the beginning of the hearing?
No,
Okay, that's not acceptable. Okay. My second question is, what the current physical condition of the property? Is it leasable?
Yes,
is it what?
is it leasable?
Okay.
May I add one thing? The basement is for storage,
That was my next question. Okay, so the restaurant is, I'm just looking at the physical condition currently. Economically, we would only look at on the reference date, but the physical condition, it's leasable. The basement, could you explain what that area is used for currently?
It's more for storage, like when we had it, that's where we had our pizza boxes, and that's where we would
there is a fridge in there, and there is a walk-in cooler, and there is a freezer, a walk-in freezer in there. And
there's an office downstairs so that you could
a
put
little
stuff in
office,
there.
yeah.
That's
so it
where
is
you could store the liquor.
It's a combination of usable storage and an office area. Would that be fair?
On an office area where you would keep the liquor, locked up.
Yeah, okay. And does the square footage at 1,655, approximately less than half of that basement is usable? Would that be fair? The assessor's assessing at 1,665 square feet. Is that accurate? The space used in that basement for the running of the business?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Or would there be more?
No, that.
Would it be more including the freezers?
I don't know exactly, but I don't think so.
Okay. And I would like to ask you a question about what you think the assessment should be placed at. You're disagreeing with the original assessment. You're disagreeing with these recommended assessment by the assessor. What do you think the market value of the property should be as of April 1st, 2023?
I am not disagreeing. What I'm saying is that I think it's too. Yeah, I think it's about 750, 800,000. That's what I think, my own opinion.
Okay, so your estimated market value, if it were to be put on the market, April 1st, 2023 is, you're giving me two numbers there. I'd like an exact date amount. So you're saying 750 to 800,000. Can you give me an exact number, please?
Yeah, why don't we do 775?
Okay. And could I ask what that number is based on?
What the number is based on, I think, okay, now let me say what I want to say. I think it's worth $1 million, but not the building. I think it's worth $1 million because the stuff that it has in it. If I would sell it, right, I probably could get that, but not because of the building alone, because it has contents. All the contents in that, it has a, like I said, ventilation system, which cost $200,000-$300,000 to put in, plus all the other stuff, tables, chairs, and everything else. So that's my own opinion.
Okay.
Am I right? I don't know. That's what I think.
So you're including the business portion of the valuation. So what we have to look at is the realty, the building, the improvements on that land, what the value would be. And that's what I'm asking you for that number.
About 775.
Okay. And is that number based on that? I believe the assessor determined that the sale on Portage at Maryland was a, we call it a post-reference sale. It occurred recently. Is that right? Could I ask the other applicant if he stated that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, do you have any other market evidence of sales that occurred back in 2023?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Okay, that is all my questions. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Duncan, questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my head around two different potential leases. One's the owner and then the other. So what I heard you say is the basement area is not a leasable area in your opinion. It's based on storage. Has that area ever been leased out to anyone else for any
No.
purpose?
No.
Okay. And how long have you owned the property?
My sister owned it since 1978, 77. They fixed it up. Then she retired about in 1998 or 99, and we owned it since then.
Okay, and so on the main floor, there's an East Indian restaurant as well as a separate lounge, all within 3,529 square feet.
Yeah, there is nothing, right? There is no, what's there now is a hookah lounge, whatever that is. It's a hookah lounge. And those guys, they're doing decent, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know what the heck there was, this hookah lounge. And it's rented to them.
So in 2023, April 2023, it was leased out as a lounge to those folks, and you
Yes.
guys in the pizza restaurant as owner occupied.
Yes. What do you mean the pizza restaurant? It's not a restaurant. Well, it is sort of a restaurant because they're still cooking in there, some stuff, but it's not a pizza restaurant.
It's not an eat-in, it's a pickup, is it? And delivery?
No, they have a, see what they do there, they go there, I don't even know what they do there.
They have a lounge there where they supply the hookah, but then they also have to, because they have liquor service, they have to have some food. So it's not a place you would go sit down to eat their food. They have more of a snack food. Due to the liquor commission, you have to have some food available for people to eat.
Right,
May-
plus, so
May
is
I,
there- oh, sorry.
may
Go
I,
ahead.
if you would? I think the confusion here is where it's clicked off as owner occupied. There's no pizza business there right now. Is that correct? Or at the time of the reference, it was.
2019, we closed the restaurant, and then there was an East Indian restaurant.
Right, and then after that,
It was a hookah lounge.
it was
They're
the
in
hookah lounge,
second- Yeah, they're in the second year of their 3-year lease.
right, and they occupied the entire premise. There was no other business going in the property.
No, it's just them.
Thank you. So, sorry, Ms. Duncan, I don't know whether that clarifies it a little.
Trying to conceptualize it. Thank you very much. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question. You're talking about the area being in decline, lack of parking. Is parking just on-street parking?
Yeah,
Yeah, in the back, there is parking for maybe 4 cars.
4 or 5.
And usually staff park there.
Okay. And the physical condition of the property, I know you mentioned that you have to do, I guess, maintenance because of vandalism. Is that, am I understanding that correct?
Yes,
Okay, but other than that, the property itself is in good repair. There's no major structural issues with the building. Is that correct?
no.
Okay, I thank you. Okay, those were my only questions. Mr. Assessor, did you have a desire for summation on this property?
No, I believe I presented my case and I presented why I felt the way I felt, so I'll leave it up to you guys.
Thank you. And for the applicants, does anyone wish to make a summation on the property?
No, you guys think whatever you guys think. I don't know what to tell you. This is your job. I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
what, you know, this, I give you what I think, I told you what I think, so I don't know what, I don't know, maybe I'm even wrong, I don't know. You know,
No.
but I'm just trying to, you know. Hopefully you guys understand what I was trying to say, that it's not easy to have a building down there. There's a lot of, I'm sorry, there's a lot of savages around there. So. This, well, I'm talking what I think.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you very much. So thank you both for your presentations today. That will conclude the matter. The board's decision will be sent to you by registered mail in due course. And once again, thank you for your attendance, both parties. We have heard the items that are scheduled today, and this hearing is now adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Apologize for the technical difficulties.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, what?
Joanne.
Good. I'm not done.
Yeah,